so much for coming to the Plano ISD Social Emotional Learning Parent Engagement Series. Our topic for this evening will be self-awareness, and I just want to kind of give you a little history on social emotional learning in Plano ISD. About, I would say, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, a group of central office employees, campus leaders, teachers, counselors, we all got together and we began to research what is this thing called social emotional learning and what would we like for it to look like in Plano ISD. And what I love about Plano ISD is that we don't implement anything that's not research and evidence-based. So through our research, through our own meaningful learning experiences, through book studies, actually spending time with experts in the field, we created our definition for social emotional learning. We began to realize that, wow, this is very important and it should be a very integral part of just how we do things as it relates to education in Plano ISD. So our topic for today will be self-awareness. And it will start with more of like a mindfulness moment, but because we have such a small number, I would like to start with what we call a community circle. Raise your hand if your kids have talked to you about community circles or anything like that. Do you know anything about a community circle? Well, have you heard of restorative practices? A little bit, Well, restorative practices is a relational approach that help build communities. Helps teachers and practitioners be a little bit more intentional about connecting with students and for students to connect with each other. And it's just a wonderful experience that I honestly would like to take you guys through. Would you be willing to do that with me? All right, well, what I'd like for you to do is just join me. I guess we'll be right here. And we'll just form a small circle right here. You don't have to hold hands or anything like that, but yeah, just a small circle. And there are several times when students are together and the focus is the curriculum, and that will always be the focus and the rigor. But research shows that when kids know more about each other, they treat each other better. And when you're dealing with bullying and all just unkind gestures, we want to be able to teach our kids the importance of relationships, and this is a tool in which they can happen. So one thing that we do, you have a talking piece of any sort. Yeah, that's fine. But and then there are lots of skills that are learned within the circle, and that is being able to be patient. That's being able to talk. To listen wholeheartedly. So if you have the talking piece, you can speak from the heart. If you do not have the talking piece, you're to listen wholeheartedly to the person. So I know that this is practice. No one has really done this. I know this may be kind of uncomfortable, but it is wonderful, and I thank you so much for taking this risk with me. So the first round would be just for you to state your name and what school your child attends. Okay. Student.org is a fabulous website. We also have our own website that I will share with you towards the end, but it's at www.pisd.SEL. But CASEL has 5 competencies. These are the social emotional competencies, the values, the attributes, the characteristics that will help lead students to life effectiveness. You know, these are the skills that they would need in school and beyond. So there is a really quick video that I would like to show you to give you a summary.
Social emotional skills are the essential skills for success in school, work, and life. Social emotional learning centers their mind and body. It reduces their emotional tension so they can be open to new content and material. You find that academic outcomes increase exponentially when students are nurtured, loved, and cared for. That we get much more out of them when we first address social emotional needs. The thrust is actually an academic intervention and not just an emotional one. If we expect students to be college and career ready, it's important for us to focus on these skills and competencies: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. Self-awareness is the ability to identify your emotions, to be able to tie thoughts and feelings to behaviors. We find that self-awareness is one of the hardest things for young people, being aware of their own body space and the impact of their words and emotions on other people. So a lot of what we do is reflective, through conflict mediation, through circles, through journaling, having them see their own impact on the world, and then how to shift that or make a different choice next time. Self-management is the ability to self-motivate, to have self-control, to regulate one's emotions. In a classroom, that may be a breathing exercise, or that might be counting 5, or taking a break.
So as students who don't really know how to deal with their anger, or don't really know how to resolve conflict, we're giving them a tool that helps them deal with it in a less stressful way.
Social awareness is about embracing diversity, showing empathy for others. Activities might include service learning projects, addressing social justice issues. Role-playing is a great opportunity for students to address how a person might have felt in a conflict on the playground.
We're going to see if other people have had some of the very same experiences around bullying that we've had.
You're in my boat if you haven't bullied now.
Well, I see a lot of people.
Relationship skills are important in project-based learning. It's the ability to work cooperatively with someone, to resolve conflict. It's the one skill you need your whole life. You may not need calculus tomorrow, but you have to know how to work a relationship, whether it's for a coworker or a life partner. You have to know how to handle conflict and how to handle challenges.
Sometimes at recess, I would come over and just start talking about it and saying mean things.
Is it your job to make Renee's job at school hard?
I know it's from a bully, and sometimes I'll say sorry to her.
So you choose to be someone's ally and make their choice. Responsible decision-making is considering the well-being for self and others. It's evaluating the consequences for various behaviors or actions. We do this through shared agreements, one-to-one problem solving, or having students debate an issue.
If you were like, hey, kiddo, can I, how much does an egg cost in this class? And you like took out your wallet and your house like, $50 will work. Which one of us would be correct in that case? You're doing that testing for the money.
We're truly teaching these students to be productive citizens. We're teaching them life skills. We're teaching them how to problem solve effectively. We're teaching them how to be resilient.
I think of all the billions of dollars we've spent on Title I and all these intervention programs, and when all is said and done, what do we have to show for it?
practice.
If we continue to do what we've always done, we're always going to get what we always done. Is that good enough? I don't think it's good enough for the 21st century. We need to be the outliers to try things that never been tried and see if they work. What are we waiting for?
Okay. So that video was an overview of all 5 competencies that we're going to address in this parent education series. And as you can tell, there's so much information and there's so many good strategies. And one thing that you can expect to get out of each one of these series sessions is that we're going to have an activity. It is going to be education and about engagement. And the fact that you guys were able to experience your first community circle today is very exciting. But then we're going to talk about what that particular competency is. Like tonight, we're going to dive into self-awareness. And then we're going to talk about what it looks like in a classroom and ways that you can support it at home. And then you will always leave with a takeaway in order to leave afterwards. And the best thing ever is that we have partnered with our parent education department, and we have counselor and parent educator Charles and Perry Mitchell that will also have time with you in order to answer questions, to talk with you as a parent as to how you can support social emotional learning. So the definition for social emotional learning in Plano ISD is social emotional learning is an educational process. It's not a product. It is something that you cultivate over time. And it's a process through which skills for life effectiveness are intentionally taught and modeled in a safe, supportive, and culturally responsive environment. In Plano ISD, we will grow to understand and manage emotions, care for self and others, develop empathy, build resiliency, solve problems effectively and ethically. Social emotional learning will empower students to become responsible, productive, and contributing members of a global community. That is our mission. That is our goal. When kids leave Plano ISD, these are the skills that we would like for them to leave with. So not only will they be successful academically in school, but to be successful in life and home and work and school. These are the core values that drive our work. Now, of course, there are lots of values that we continue to focus on through social emotional learning. And these are the 6 that through our actions and everything that we do, we want to be very visible and rise to the top. The first one is compassion. Now, when you hear the term compassion, what do you think about? Is there like a synonym or short definition that comes to mind? Empathy. Yes. Love that. Caring, understanding. What about relationships? Relationships take hard work, and I'm so glad that you said relationships take work. So just because we're in a space together doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have a relationship. But when our teachers take time to have community building circles, to have opportunities to talk with students about things outside of the curriculum, they can develop those relationships. Yes. Exchange is give and take. I love that. Awesome. What about hope? Multivision. I like that. Optimism. Future. Positive anticipation. Yes. What about community? Connectedness. I like that. Togetherness. Yes. Diversity. Tolerance. Curiosity. I say, understanding each other and understanding adult that walks through our doors, that we realize that everyone has something to contribute. And we wanted to provide opportunities for everyone to contribute. What about trust?
Vulnerability, love.
Vulnerability, love. I always think it's kind of like consistent actions over time, because trust is kind of earned over time. You can't say, hey, trust me. You know, kids are always paying attention to what we say, how we say it, what we do, you know, if we're going to do what we say. So that's how that trust is earned over time. So research supports, and as you've heard in the video, that SEL increases engagement and the student's capacity to learn. It improves behavior and school safety. It improves the school culture and climate. And what I love most about social emotional learning is that it benefits all students. All students. And that's why through our series, we're at elementary schools, we're at middle schools, we're at a high school. So anyone can come, whether you have a kid in kindergarten or you have a kid in high school, which I have people at Bonds and Haggard and Shepherd and everything here today, can benefit from this. Now, school family partnerships. In Plano, we realize that it truly takes a village. And when it comes to social emotional learning, we want to teach these skills, you know, in the school and give you the tools that's needed to reinforce it at home. And most of you are, I can tell right now just from our time together, you guys are awesome people. And kids are learning SEL skills at home, and we want to be able to reinforce that at school. So families can promote SEL competencies through modeling. As we said, you know, what we say and what we do around our kids is so very important. And employing specific parental practices, which we will learn tonight. So, in the video, I briefly gave this the definition of self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to accurately recognize one's emotions, thoughts, and how they influence behavior. Okay? When people behave in a certain way, it's nothing that is, you know, something that just happens out of thin air. It's being able to identify how we feel, being able to pay attention to our thoughts, and to make sure that we learn what we will focus on next, self-management, in order to make sure that we see how this influences our behaviors. And we're all human. Sometimes we're going to have, you know, different thoughts, we're going to have different emotions, but to take the time to identify and just say, you know what, right now I realize that I'm not in a good place, so I need to do what I need to do in order to get in a better space. Sometimes, I heard someone say earlier that sometimes we're so used to going and doing. We're not human doings, we're human beings. And to take a moment to just be is what self-awareness is about. Also, self-awareness is all about assessing your strengths and your limitations. I love football. If anyone comes to my house on Saturday I'm watching college football. If they would come to my house on Sunday, I'm watching pro football. But I realize that I cannot throw a ball or catch a ball to save my life. That is a limitation of mine. But I realize that I do have strengths. And what's awesome about social emotional learning and this work is that it is very strengths-based. We don't focus on the deficits, what people can't do, or where they need to go, but to realize, remember, everybody has a story, everybody has a strength, and when we focus on their strength and allow kids the opportunity to contribute that strength to the school community, then that's when we will have success. And then, of course, with self-awareness, we need to observe the ripple effect of our emotions. I'm a mom of an 11-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old daughter. And sometimes sometimes I pick them up from school and they get in the car and I'm like, well, why you don't have your backpack? And what is this? And well, do you have this? Mom, you didn't have a good day today, did you? I'm like, why are you saying that? Oh, nothing. And then I have to realize when I'm dysregulated, it affects those around me. And I have to realize that my kids, they're sponges. They're paying attention to everything. So a lot of times I say, you know what? I need a moment to just breathe for a sec, get myself together so I can regulate my own emotions before I begin to be around kids and so forth. And then just perform a daily reflection. Whether it's making a quiet space, some people, have a cup of coffee in the morning, or I'm an early bird. I like to wake up before everyone else, and I just like to sit in peace for about 10 minutes. And when I began to do that, believe it or not, I began to have better days because I was in a better space and I felt like I had a moment to get my thoughts in my mind and to, whether it was reading positive affirmations or anything like that, it was very beneficial. Now in the classroom, there are several ways that students can participate in self-awareness. Journaling. Journaling represents a powerful way that students can engage in the process of self-reflection of their ideas, of their feelings, of their goals, of their experiences, and their aspirations. Raise your hand if you journal. Anyone in here journal? Yeah. I actually began journaling about 2 years ago. And I gotta say, it's just something about being able to express your thoughts and feelings. Not to expect that anything changes, it's just to put it out there and sometimes I don't know if you do, I kind of look back on old journals to see, how I've grown and the thoughts and the pride. But remember, this work is a process. Being, alive and growing as humans is a process. We're not the same people that we were, 20 years ago. We're not the same people that we were 20 days ago. And then other ways that we do this in the classroom, and that's connecting it to academic content. A lot of people think that this is like a separate thing. Social emotional learning can be integrated into academic content in order to help kids learn. Connecting academic content to the personal lives, memories, feelings, and experiences of students. Like for instance, if you're in a social studies class and you're thinking about a certain time period, you can think of a time in your life when you felt the same way that this particular president felt, or this particular, person in history felt. Or if you were to live in the 1920s, think about the time when you felt something similar. Because when kids are able to make an emotional connection to the content, they remember. It stays with them. And then, for instance, another example, in algebra. When asking students to solve for x, which means solving for the unknown, ask students to think of a time in their lives when they were confronted with an unknown and how they went about solving. We say all the time, we want our kids to be problem solvers. And we do it all the time in the academic content, but remember, our goal is to integrate these social emotional competencies so that they can, yes, be successful in the classroom, but also in life. And then, of course, there's mindfulness. Raise your hand if you heard about mindfulness or anything. I want to hear, what have you heard about mindfulness?
It's in the moment that you are in right now without anything else distracting. Some people might call it meditation, others might call it just a moment of peace, like you said. Somebody said that, it's that you spend that time right now sitting before everybody else gets up.
Yeah.
That was being mindful of yourself, being mindful of your own
do, I don't know. Hey, honey, I need you to take a moment. I just need you to put this away. And I just need you to calm down. I need you to breathe. And she said, well, I have this app. And I said, well, tell me. I didn't even know anything about Calm. She knew about Calm. I like Smiling Mind, and I'm going to demonstrate it for you. That's right here. All right. This is a mindfulness app. I'm going to click that. See if I can. All right. It is wonderful. They have this list of programs, and whether your child is 13 to 15, whether you're an adult, they have bite size. Like if you say you only have a minute or two, they have the introduction to mindfulness. But we're gonna do one together, just so you can experience what we're talking about. This one is 2 minutes, and in order to do this, of course, keep an open mind, and all we have to do is just listen to the instructions. So if you would sit up straight in your chairs, I'm gonna do it right here with you. And I hope everyone will be able to hear.
Smiling Mind Bite-Sized Meditation, 2-minute daily mindfulness guide. Close or half close your eyes and take a moment to settle into your position, resting your hands comfortably on your lap. Start by taking 2 deep breaths. Then allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm and focus your attention on the spot where you feel the breath move in and out of your body most easily. You might feel your belly rising and falling, your chest expanding, or the air moving in and out of your nostrils. If your mind wanders off into thoughts, memories, or worries, remember to bring your attention gently back to your breathing. Gently move your attention and begin exploring every part of your body, from the tips of the toes to the top of your head. Try to notice both bigger and smaller sensations, such as your socks against your feet, or the points of contact between one toe and the other. Keep scanning the body slowly, moving from one spot to the next. Now, bring your attention into the room that you're in. Gently wiggle your toes and open your eyes when you're ready.
There are several times when I do this, believe it or not, to kind of relax and go to sleep. That was a bite-sized one. There can be some that are 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it's all very different. Would anyone be willing to talk about what that experience was like for them? It was relaxing.
It's funny because your mind is so active that when you start to listen to it and then it said start to think of other points of your body, your mind starts to really not think of what to do. So it was good experience. I actually do this with
Oh, great. That's
Shazzy. Shazzy's got a really good one.
good. Shazzy. Oh,
Shazzy.
I'm going to write that down. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Yes.
It was kind of interesting to follow the instructions and feel your toes in the present moment.
And that's why I started doing it, because honestly, I never really took the time to notice those things. And it's my body, and I'm with it every day. But until I actually am more intentional about focusing on my breath and my thoughts and my feelings. It helps, and it helps me become more focused, because sometimes my brain gets really scattered, and I was like, okay, I need to calm down, or oh, I need to focus, but this gives me a tool to actually do that. Have you guys watched movies where someone is hyperventilating? Oh my God, I don't know what to do. The doctor or someone always tell them, all right, take a minute to breathe. Okay? And scientifically, it does. It changes the brain, it changes the focus and everything. There's lots of research that support that. So thank you for that. Let's go back into it. And then another way, that this can be a self-awareness is focused in the classroom is having kids to create autobiographies. Of course, you can write an autobiography, but you can create like a photo collage, make a video, a series of cartoons. A lot of our kids are so musically, gosh, it just amazed me how our bands and our orchestras and choirs are. But this is all about them. They can focus on them. And what I love about the video, they say, it's wonderful when our kids are able to truly focus on and know who they are as a person. There's a lot of power that comes with that, because if you know who you are as a person, like I said, you've already established a discipline. And learning becomes fun, and learning and connecting with others is so much easier because you know who you are as a person. You've taken the time to do that work. Then self-awareness, ways to support SEL at home. What I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it over to our counselor and parent educator, and she's going to take the lead, Ms. Troslyn Perry Mitchell. Yes, absolutely.
Introduce myself. My name is Troslyn Mitchell. I'm parent educator for Plano ISD. I've been a parent educator for a little over 4.5 years. Also a licensed therapist in private practice. I have a private practice here in Plano for families and individuals. I'm a mother of 6. I have 4 girls and 2 boys. Their ages right now are 21, 23, 24, 25, 27, and 28. I absolutely love being a mom. It is one of the greatest jobs I've ever had to be a parent. It's one of the greatest jobs. It's also one of the hardest. Did y'all think I was just going to say the greatest? It's one of the hardest, guys. It is. So what we're going to talk about tonight is self-awareness, but we're also going to just talk about parenting. I'm going to tell you, in any presentation that you're at with me, I won't do all the talking. I'll do some of the listening. I've seen you before somewhere, right? Why do you think they've given me how much time?
About 15.
15 home. Right? Okay. Focus. I'm wasting my time, right? That's what we feel like sometimes when she tells us let's breathe. I'm wasting my time, right? But I want to tell you this. I won't do all the talking, I'll do some of the listening. Why? Why do you think? Why do you think I'll do some of the listening? She's giving me 15 whole minutes to be in power. I can talk at you and use all that time, or I can talk with you. Why do I choose to talk with you? Why is feedback valuable to me? Why is feedback valuable to me? I can learn, we can learn from each other in 15 minutes, or an hour, however much time she gave me, right? We can learn from each other. I find out what your needs are, right? And I hope that I'm modeling for you the type of relationship to have with your children. Don't do all the talking, do some of the listening, because that's how you find out what their needs are. I'm going to tell you, your kids leave in the morning and they come home. That's 7 hours away from you. We often think as parents we get the same kid back that we sent this morning. You don't get the same kid back. You get a kid with 7 hours of experience without you. So if I don't have the capacity to listen, how do I know who you're changing to, baby? If I'm not intentional about taking out time to embrace you and listen to what makes you happy, what makes you sad, then how do I really know you? Too many of our homes are filled with what's called power communication and maintenance talk. Power communication, my way or the highway. I remember, and that's how I was as a young mom. It was my way or the highway, right? 6 little ducklings walking behind me, just follow me, just do what I say, and you do well in this life. When I knew better, I did better. I started understanding the power of teaching them how to advocate for themselves, teaching them how to recognize their own emotions, teaching them that, you know what, you got a life that you got to hold on to, right? So when I think about that, and the other thing that we do is maintenance talk, right? Power communication, my way or the highway, and maintenance talk. What does maintenance talk look like in our homes? What do you think that looks like?
Did you do what I told you?
Yeah, hey baby in the morning, you know, we're talking about being morning people. Hey baby, wake up. Do they wake up the first time? Mine did not know, right? Wake up, and they finally get up. Hurry up, didn't I tell you go wash your face? Oh, where's your clothes? Oh, get your backpack. Hurry up and eat that. We just go. We're getting the maintenance. We gotta get it done, right? Sometimes we break that relationship for 7:45, getting them here, right? So I'm like, we get in the car fussing at them. Like, you know what, that's taking you too long. You can't keep doing that. That backpack needs to be at the door. How many times I tell you? Put both of your shoes there. We get to the door, and these nice ladies pull open the door and say, okay, baby, have a good day. Right? The brain needs to be in place, right? In order to learn. But when we've had that kind of morning together, I come in here with a $40 million. I can't even learn. Somebody, this nice counselor back here, somebody has to say, hey baby, hey, welcome. So I can start getting my lid. But I can even learn this math and science. But you set me up for success or failure in the morning, right? And it's full of power, communication, and maintenance talk. Then we get through the day, it's time to pick them up, and we say, what do we say when we first see them? What do you say to your babies when you first see them in the afternoon? Good, mommy. What else? Mm-hmm.
Did you get a sticker?
And after we ask this nice stuff that takes about a minute, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, what's the next question? Yeah, we get back to the maintenance, don't we? Do you have any homework? And then, okay, hurry up with your homework. Oh, it's soccer time. Get your soccer shoes on me. We come home. Hurry up, eat your dinner. Hey, go take your bath, take a shower, get your clothes ready for tomorrow. When do we learn to communicate on the levels of feelings? When does that happen? And start sharing what's talking about the social emotional. When does that happen in our home? How will your kid know to become aware of what they think, feel, want, desire? If we don't teach it. I believe that we're raising a whole child, an academic child, a physical child, an emotional child, and a social child. Is there any day, Dad, that you wouldn't feed your child physically? Do they eat every day? You feed them a meal every day, at least one. Oh, they don't live with you. But does somebody make sure they eat? Bro, they doing okay? Yeah. You hope, right? Each day we feed them physically, right? Why? Why do you feed them every day physically? Yeah, to be physically fit, right? Right? So, is there any time that we think about feeding them emotionally? So they can be strong. Yeah, we gotta be. Because we have this vision of what we want for them, and we're driven by the academics, but gosh, we gotta be driven. I believe personally that EQ trumps IQ. You got some very, very smart people that's off the charts intellectually, don't know how to behave in this world, and don't have a friend. So what are you after? What's your vision? What's your goal? So I want to ask you, when you think about your baby and making sure they're fed physically, how do you make sure they're emotionally fit? Do you sit down and talk about your sunshine today and your clouds? Right, because you got to teach them how to move through both. Because each day is filled with sunshine and clouds. You look at the sunniest day, you still see the clouds out there. Cloudy day, the sun would not be lit unless the sun was there. So every single day has sunshine and clouds. Can we learn to talk to them about it and help them move through it? Because that's just real life. We teach them resilience that way. Do you share with them when your feelings get hurt? Share with me the last time that you shared with someone.
Well, I'm a counselor, so I share that sometimes when I see a kid come in and they have a look about them, whatever, which is really very different. You know, when she came in, I thought, how can I break that ice? So I said, gosh, today I
use identification. I know what that might feel like. I kind of read you, and you know, when we share with our kids.
I watched you.
I know.
Before, I let her know that I was who I really was. But really, I mean, that's just what came to my mind, because sometimes it's hard to express what you're feeling, because sometimes you don't even know how to identify it. You don't even know.
And do you know why? Because no one has taught us how to.
Exactly.
Right,
There you go.
that self-awareness.
See, that in teenagers.
Yeah, and what about us? Your own feelings as an adult, as a mom that's responsible for a kid. We don't even do too well sometimes identifying their own emotions, especially if you're married. Like, I can't tell what I'm feeling sometimes. Like, what, you know? So, go ahead,
Well, I
Mom.
was gonna say, I'm trying to be more aware of like my son's feelings, because sometimes he can't deal with, when he gets upset, he doesn't deal with it very well. So am I trying to learn these like breathing, or tell him, you know, you gotta just how to calm back down. But it's also making me realize like, you know, how I deal with things.
Yeah.
It's making me be more self-aware. So it's actually like
That's
a very
good.
good learning experience for me, and hopefully I can help.
That's beautiful.
him.
That's beautiful. That's what life is about.
Well, and I didn't realize, like,
Yeah.
I didn't, you know, grow up, we never talked about that kind of stuff.
Many of us
How to
have.
deal with your emotions and things like that, so now it's,
That's good, right? That's great, Mom, because when his lid is flipped, the thing is, you can't flip yours.
yeah.
You can, and we do.
Well,
We do, right? So when he flipped his lid, we got 2 flip lids. This is the human brain in place right here. We need this for focus, we need this for reasoning. When he's flipped his lid, only the amygdala is available. That's power communication for him, judging and not listening. And when they don't listen to us, man, we get mad and we flip ours. Right? It's like, how dare you disrespect me with fussing? You need to do your homework, going back and forth. What's happening to the relationship when parents break it? There are 3 things that parents do: power communication, judging, and not listening. Those 3 things pull your child away from you.
So like in my experience, like every time like my daughter's like, how was your day? Good. I get all these like closed, it's not like an open or lots of explanations like what did you there, and she just not like doesn't respond. And I'm trying to encourage that, but I don't know.
What if you were to say, how was your day? Good. You want to know how mine was? Tell her how yours was. You know, what was your day like? The lady at the grocery store was so, if she's a teenager especially, so mean to me. What you do, Mom? I had to tell them a story about, we talk about emotional regulation all the time in my home and how our feelings are. Somebody, I would have a promotional company, and someone screamed at me. One second on your phone. Somebody screamed at me. I was like, hey, I'm wondering about my cats. I said, she's like, well, they didn't go out. I said, well, can you send them out next day here? She's like, hold on. Oh, okay. She comes back, and she's like, no, we can't send them out next day at our cost. I said, well, man, talk to your manager. Hold on. Right, I'm 6 kids, Mama. You know, nobody talks to me that way, right? So I wait on her. She comes back. No, we can't send them out. I said, well, I really, do you want the cats or not? I was like, oh. My kid's like, what did you say? Because they know, Mama, they know I can flip my lid. They know I practice not flipping my lid. I said, well, my throat was really tight. And I said, yes, send them out, please. What do you think they learned in that illustration, telling them about how my day was?
Just do shadowing in the future and just keep.
I model emotional regulation. I model sharing with them my day. I model her feelings, how to move through it. Oftentimes we want to ask how was their day, and we don't give up how ours was. Kids, when they're little, I'm going to tell you, 2 years, my kids were young, they used to say, Mommy, I used to think the teacher slept at school. My daughter Christina. I'm like, what do you mean they slept at school? And he's like, I used to think they slept at school. Why would you think they slept at school? She said, Mommy, when you left, they were there, and when you got back, they were still there. I said, well, how did you learn they didn't sleep at school? She's like, I saw one at Walmart. She's like, yeah. Sometimes the kids don't think you're real.
I was an elementary school teacher. That's my first job. And then I went through all the levels now. But to be quite honest with you, that was my 2nd grader. I wasn't told this story. Just exactly starting. And we were at, I don't know, some store or something. And literally
kids don't think we're real guys, so you have to have opportunity when you're asking them questions to show who you are, to be able to identify that you go through problems too. Why? Because they've gonna go through problems. You gotta teach them resilience. You gotta teach them how to be happy, how to move through that. You don't gloat that over people. You teach them how to move through sadness, right? And vulnerability. When my mom passed, guys, my daughter wouldn't even come talk to me because she was afraid that she'd make me sad, because I didn't look sad. Because I was trying to be strong. But when she told me she was hurting, I'm like, baby, I'm hurting too. I said, I sit in the car and cry sometimes. She's like, okay, I can hurt. Yeah, you can hurt too. So you got to be able to help them identify and let them know that you're real and that you hurt too and that you had a day that you'd like to share with them too. Dad, what are you going to ask?
I think you're trying to do too much for each other. You're trying to do too much for each other.
What do you mean when you say that?
I think you want to protect them. And you want to.
In what way? What do you mean when you say that?
You don't just want to do much. You want to talk much. And you're trying to do much. And I'm not sure if you are worried for them or for yourself.
What do you give me an example of what you mean when you say that?
It seems like you interfere too much in the sphere.
Give me an example of my interfering when you see that, when I share with you.
You're talking about that.
Help me understand.
Talk a lot about them and what they do, where they go and everything. Why don't you let them know?
In what way would you recommend for me to let them go? Share that with me.
Just not interfere.
Tell me a little bit about your parents. How did they raise you?
They did not talk much.
What type of relationship did you have with them?
I was just feeling that they love me, but they did not want to teach me.
Tell me what they didn't want what?
They did not want to teach me.
What do you mean when you say they don't want to teach you something?
They just made me feel they love me.
Tell me in which way they made you feel like they loved you. What did they do to make you feel loved?
They were always close.
And tell me how you practice that with your children.
I don't try to do much.
How do you make them feel loved?
I'm available for them.
Time.
As much as possible. When they need, if they need.
How do you know when they need you?
Yeah.
Do you know something inside of you sometimes, even if they haven't called, that they need you? Do you know that you were put on this earth as their dad because they need you? What do you hope for them? How often do you get to see them? How often do you get to see them? Was that your dream, your hope, when you had children, that you wouldn't see them very often?
It's not about me.
But it is about you. This is your life.
It's not about me.
But I'm saying, when you had children, did you hope that it would be this way where you wouldn't see them very often?
I mean, that's what you have what kind of job you have. It's not easy and you cannot see them.
What's your vision for them?
Okay, from that,
What's your hope for them?
they will be useful.
I think a lot of times in life, because life is what life is, that a lot of times when we realize our limitations and what we can't do, what we may have dreamed to do and what we can't do, sometimes we do minimize what our jobs are to do. Sometimes when they're not with us, we have to be creative. It's not saying you're doing too much, but you have to be creative as to how you reach them. I talked to a dad today that he's not with his kids either. And I asked him, I said, what did you do right to just affirm and let them know you appreciate them this week? He said, I didn't get to see them. I said, well, he said they went to their moms. I said, do you know that, he said, there's a lot of strife between me and mom, so I can't call them or anything like that. I say, well, do you know that sometimes you can put a little note in that backpack or in that lunch to say, I love you, can't wait till you get back. Why would a dad do that? Is that doing too much? No, that's letting them know that when you're not here, I miss you. There are 3 things that Oprah Winfrey says every human heart longs for. Out of her 25 years of experience, what do you think that she looked at humankind and out of all her experience, what do you think that she knows that no matter the race, the age, the college, the education, people need 3 things. What do you think people need? What do you need? What else do you need? What does your heart need? I know your mind, your intellect needs that, but what is it that your heart needs? And she said the same thing, right? She put it this way. She realized that people need 3 things. Our children need this, and parents need this. She said, people need to know, do you see me? Do you hear me? And does what I say and do matter to you? No matter how we travel in life, just like you said, you want to be with somebody. You want to know, do you see me? Do you hear me? And does what I say and do matter to you? And that's the social emotional part of living and learning. We are wired for connection. None of us are going to do this perfectly, Dad. None of us. But if we have intentionality and if we have a vision for what we want from our kids or with our kids, even if we're separated, we still get to have that vision. And I don't think it's doing too much. I think it is stepping into the shoes to let them know how valuable they are. And you have a vision 40 years from now. What do you want them to be to you? If you build nothing now, you'll have nothing later. So you just want to understand.
As we're speaking, I was just thinking about the 5 languages of love. Part of I think what I was personally brought up was more of act of service and gift giving. So that's what, like, not consciously or subconsciously, I do that to my child. Very, there's like the verbal affirmation and those, like, I guess, not necessarily that emotional part of it wasn't there when I was like, they loved me, they showed me with act of service and gift, but not a lot of like, oh, you're doing a great job, you're fantastic, we love you. Kind of like knew that they love me always, but and maybe that's the hard part to really come out and have that.
And that's why it's hard for us.
Showing my emotion to my child.
And it's hard for us. I'm going to tell you, I talked to a lot of people in a lot of different cultures, like Asians, Indians, that did not get to experience. They got that IQ, right? Parents were always hammering about IQ, IQ, IQ. But all of the ones that I talked to, they wished for a relationship with their parents. They could have still excelled academically, but they wished for some vulnerability because a lot of them don't know how to go through being resilient emotionally. They know how to take a test, but they don't know how to move through hardship emotionally, and that's ours to teach. Even if we're living in 2 separate places, still ours to teach. When you love, you can never do too much. I don't believe in catching a kid before they fall. I don't, because they learn from falling that they can get up. So I don't believe in catching them before they fall, but I very well am not going to kick them down by not being there for them. Because there's a need for a parent. The value, there's a hole in their heart that's the size of Dad. And you've got to remember that and know that no one can be you in their lives. However you decide to be, you get to decide to be. There's a hole inside of all of us that only a parent can fill. And I just want to remind you, increase your capacity to listen. I'm going to close by saying, how do you feel when someone listens to you? Give me one feeling. Satisfied, Mom? How do you feel when someone listens to your heart? Understood. Love. How do you feel when someone listens to your heart? Value. Respect. You didn't say that, did that we should treat as such. And sometimes when we're not with them, we've got to be creative to let them know we love them. So I challenge you with that.
That's right.
To let them know how much you respect and love them. It is a beautiful thing to be a parent. It is a privilege. Thank you all for being such awesome parents, and thank you all for being down here. And one more thing, understand that as you walk through pain, it can be an opportunity to teach. As you walk through happiness, it can be an opportunity to teach. So never let your kids be outside of the scope of your humanity, because that's the most tender, vulnerable place where trust can be built. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Isn't she awesome? Oh my gosh, thank you so much for, and thank you for making me feel really bad about putting a time limit on. And just to also say now, Miss Perry Mitchell, she's passing out an article, and it's a really, really good article with some tips on how to cultivate self-awareness at home. Here are some additional tips. You know, use, as she said earlier, identify your feelings and the causes for them, your strengths and limitations. Use words to describe emotions to your child. Sometimes our kids, when they are behaving in a certain way, they really can't manage something they can't identify. So to give them that vocabulary. When you're reading books, when you're watching TV, point out the emotions and the characters and have those discussions. Provide ways for your child to express their feelings. It is a very human way to express feelings. We're not trying to get rid of feelings or change their feelings, but whether it's journaling, or have you guys seen those adult coloring books? You know, where I love those. You know, or writing or drawing. Give your child the full attention, as Roslyn said earlier, to just listen to your child. Make a day, if for some reason, I know we're all very busy, maybe you can say after dinner we can sit and talk, or when the kid is actually talking, because we always wonder how when kids are in elementary or small, they're chatty-catty, and then by the time they hit middle school and high school, they don't talk anymore. So the focus is to encourage talking. When they begin to talk, tell me more. Go on, you know, and keep going so that they can feel comfortable talking with you. We talked about that effective listening, just instead of being on the phone while they're talking or, you know, doing something else. And I'm guilty of it too. You know, I try to multitask while I'm washing dishes. I can talk to my child, but sometimes they just want to sit and have their parent full attention. You know, even no matter what it is, and they want to be validated. So, of course, they may say, "Oh, Mom, you know, I lost my favorite pencil today," and you may not think it's a big deal compared to the things you're dealing with, but to that child, it's a big deal. So, to reflect that feeling back, you know what, that must be tough. Oh my God, you know what? I lost my favorite, I don't know, whatever, and then they begin to think like, okay. You know how I'm feeling too.
Can I just
Yes.
one thing?
Go ahead.
What Sharon is talking about is connecting with them before you correct or redirect. So important to help them identify that emotion, connect with them, and then redirect or correct that behavior or direct them in that direction.
And if you think about it, when it comes to emotions and feelings, we are our emotions. We are our feelings. So when our kids are feeling a certain way, like she said, instead of redirecting or trying to change anything, just allow them to express what's going on and what they're feeling, because that's who they are in that space.
There was a friend of mine that always used to say, feelings, she always told her students to say, feelings are either good or bad. They just talk. So in other words, giving them the opportunity to say, whatever you're feeling, it's not something I'm going to judge. I just want you to tell me.
Yes.
And she would just say, feelings are either good and bad, good or bad. They just are. We all have them, so it's really know what you're feeling. That's how I start out. She really wound up on me with that feeling like a lot. Kids and as parents, I think we can do that as well. You know? Or even like she said, give a little bit
But it takes time.
It does take
And,
time.
yeah, it's not gonna be overnight.
It's not a 1 or 2 minute thing.
No. And, and when you consistently have these conversations and identify and connect with your kids, you slowly go from this parenting robot to a human, and that they can relate to and talk to and feel comfortable with. Oh, and we talked about modeling these SEL skills tonight. We talked about, social, self-awareness. Next time will be self-management. But children are learning every day by watching and listening to how teachers, family members, and friends, how we interact with each other. And before you leave, this is our description of social emotional learning in Plano ISD, and it takes all the different competencies. We also have our website, our Twitter page. We're going to give you guys these handouts as you leave, and with all of our information, so you can contact us at any time. And for more information about social emotional learning, we have our website and then also our Twitter page. So if you're on Twitter, I would love for you to tweet out something that you've learned today, or tweet and let some people know that you're here, because guess what? Next time when we meet at Wyatt Elementary, we would love to have more people, because I don't know about you, but I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with everyone tonight, and I'm so hopeful as to how social emotional learning is going to shape education in Plano ISD. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being so engaged.